Hey guys, welcome back to The Alchemical Oracle. I'm Lo, your neighborhood psychic medium, trance channeler, energy healer, arc mechanic, keeping your energy suited and booted to hit your next level. So let's tap in. Today we are getting a trance channel from Huey P. Newton. Okay, let's go. This is one of the co-founders of the Black Panther Party. Hurrah, my God, yes. And one of the colleagues of one of my favorite people in the world, Angela Davis. Y'all, bro, she inspires me so much. So let's tap in with Huey. He has just done such a phenomenal, he has such a phenomenal legacy that has been left behind, fighting police brutality, making sure that kids have meals. And that actually was put into our public school system to make sure that kids eat a meal every day, even if they don't eat at home. So let's tap in. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the reality of that history, but we're not bringing that here because I feel like he has a different perspective to show to us today to teach us about something that's really gonna click in. So if you find something that really resonates with you, I want you to put that time code down below and tell us what was your revelation, because we are a fucking community, babes. So if you want to share, let's share our points of view, because someone else may watch it and not even click in the way that you did. And that right there is something to be shared, something to be reveled, and a light to leave behind. And let's get into the channel. If you like this type of content, definitely click the like button, my God, okay? We got a lot of things going. And for sure, leave me a comment, subscribe. I mean, bro, what are you doing if you not subscribing? Because we are here doing the damn thing. And if y'all think that being a medium is easy, I swear for God, it is now, okay? But it didn't used to be. So I'm gonna need you to tap in with me, okay? And catch these gems, okay? Boy, things is about to get real nice. I hope you got your notebook and everything. Let's get into it. Oh man, this body is sore to death. I haven't been in a body in such a long time. Oh, let's get settled in here. Yes, I think we are going to enjoy this one. Everybody gather up and let's make sure that we take notes. I can't have you walk out of here without some knowledge and some wisdom to impart and take some action in. Because you know, we don't waste our time over here. Now, today we are going to be coming live and in charge. I want to talk to you guys about how we are as a people moving forward in this day and age. And a lot of things have to do with, it's not just being in a space where we are experiencing racism and prejudice in our day-to-day lives. That being said, there are some places where things are much better than they were when I was alive. And in some places, they are still the same. Okay? But the biggest thing that we want to take away from here is everything is out in the open for the world to see. So now we need to ask you a question. What is it out in the world? Things that are stuck within you from a time past. Okay? I'm talking about things like post-traumatic slave syndrome. I'm talking about being constantly paranoid about your surroundings. I'm talking about living your day-to-day life, not worried about who, what perceives you. Being you unapologetically. Understanding that you're not alone, period. Okay? You never have been. You walk with an army of ancestors, of spirits, and those that are the elevated and the ancient of those. We are walking and watching you. If you need help, we are not the type of spirits that can just come into your life. You have to ask us. What I want you to understand is that right now is a pivotal time in history. Not just because of what's going on outside in our society, but what is going on inside of you because of what is happening at large in the world. Many of you are starting to understand things that you've not found words for. And today, I'm going to give you words. And I hope that you take these words, you look them up, and you understand what it means, where to take it, and how to develop it within yourself. I will give you tips and tools, and I hope that you are ready. First, I'm going to talk about some things that in my life, I did not have the knowledge to speak about. I did not have the awareness to speak about something that I was still participating in, but often heard and was complained to about these things. The first is internalized racism. Now, I know about this quite a bit, and I knew about this in my life, but I did say something, okay? Internalized racism is when you have prejudice against things that identifiably were things of your people. Let's talk about witches and witch doctors. Let's talk about hoodoo and root work. Let's talk about voodoo. Let's talk about Palo and Santeria. What I want you to understand is that all of these things derive back to the motherland. Yes, they have many different ideas that have completely warped and created their own sex within the spaces that they occupy, the consciousnesses that have been involved in them. But what I want you to understand is that there is a demonization of Black spirituality, of the spirituality that is inherently African. Now, I'm not asking you to go back to Africa and to study something there, because there is so much that we have lived through on this continent, that so many of the ancestors that have lived and died here, that were kidnapped and brought here, they have instilled work for you. They have opened the way and the path for you. Do not ignore them. To find a source in a culture that you do not understand. What I need you to understand truly is to have pride in who you are, regardless that we are a people that has been hurt, marginalized, oppressed and depressed, suppressed, segregated and thought less than a simple grain of sand. I need you to understand that there is no price on your head that can guarantee the knowledge, the wisdom that this right here is about to tap you into. Does that make sense? I want you to understand that as we are culminating and understanding our own mind, the trauma that we have received from our parents and their parents and their parents, I want you to understand that it's encoded in your DNA. And for you, we need you to use it different, to be different, to act different, to perceive different. Does this make sense? For a very long time, we had been perceiving life, even in my lifetime, as victim, because that was the energy of our community at large. But now we are moving into an area where we are able to see the many facets of who we've become. We've also been able to see that now we have monetized our culture so much that it is now becoming at large American culture. And I believe that this is a great time to shift the culture of what we now call African Americans, what we then called Blacks, and what we then called the Negro. I want you to understand that we're no longer the people that are oppressed, that are suppressed, that are lesser. And in your mind, you must decide that you are no longer that you will no longer identify as such. Yes, there are plenty of people out there who are benefiting from a system that was made to make us lesser, that was made to make us work harder and to keep us out of certain rooms and conversations. But does that mean that we continue to have oppressive, suppressive, and depressive conversations with ourselves? Suppressing ourselves, oppressing ourselves, telling ourselves what we can and can't accomplish, do, be, or have. Let me tell you something. In this day, this age, you can do whatever you want. You could be whoever you want. And yes, it will take a lot of work. Yes, you will come up against obstacles. Yes, you will fall on your fucking face. But you know what? You can get your ass back up and get back in the game. You can get back on the path and do that shit again and again and again. This is not a time to play with yourself. This is not a time to act different, to be different. I need you to understand something clear. And I need you to understand something important. This image that has been put in your mind of who you are, what Black means, what African American means, the history of slavery of the Negro in this land, of the indigenous Negroes that were here before. We need you to understand that we stand with you, that you can hold pride in those who decided to live and those who died in the process of attempting, who bared atrocities and bled out on the soil you stand, the soil your apartment, your house, and your car drives on. Do you understand? This land is now the land of your ancestors, and that is okay. Yes, Africa is a continent with many countries, and some of those lands can be the lands of your ancestors as well. But it is so distant from the mind of the African American, of the Negro. But today I ask you, What pride do you have in your land? What pride do you have in your people? What pride do you have in your family? Some of you come from families that are completely disrupted, absolutely trauma-ridden, okay? That thing is ugly, disgusting, and hard to bear. The wounds that you have accrued this lifetime have been mostly from those same people that you call family. Where once a family would build upon someone, elevate them, and show them the way on how to maneuver this reality. Many are byproducts of haphazardly walking through our reality, unable to gain any type of control, any type of sovereignty. And if that's you, we are dearly sorry. But I want you to understand something. You don't have to continue to be in that energy. You don't have to continue to be in that perspective, on that way. You can and you will go different, be different, have different, should you decide. I want you to understand where you're going. You can choose. You were born here, chosen you to be a black man, a black woman, someone of mixed racial what's the word that I wanted to say? Someone who is of mixed race, someone who is a minority, someone who is, for those who identify as an immigrant. What I want you to understand is these sects of minority, just like the black man, these ideas are just constructs. They are the egregore at which the American society and the African American society at large ostracize. Because you can't quite be this and you can't quite be that, and therefore you are stretched. But I want you to understand that that is a perception, that is a belief, that is a frequency of thought. You get to decide who you are, where you are, and who you will become. And that seems like a lot of responsibility. But I will tell you this. There is no devil, there is no Christ, there is no saint that can save you from yourself. That you can blame the inadequacies, the trauma, and the pain on because you won't work on yourself, because you won't heal yourself. And because you won't heal yourself, you terrorize, oppress, suppress, patronize your children. You teach them who they can't be. You do not cultivate them on who they can. You decide where they can go. You push, you prod, you pull. And for some, you pull apart, you eradicate. You say, you could never. There are those who are listening who have experienced this. And if you have experienced this, then you should know that the feelings, the trauma, the pain, you are better. Do not pass this on. Do not pass this to the next. Do not pass anything. This moment, right here, right now, will you decide will you decide to be where it stops? To be where internalized racism stops. To stop talking about good hair. To stop talking about certain types of skin and how they are better than others. To start positioning things in such a way. Can you stop? Can you stop with misogyny within yourself and being that enforcer of an unhealthy dynamic of those with pale skin? Even they don't want it anymore. Why are you doubling down on it in your home, in your body, in your consciousness, in your mind? Why, in fact, do you think that in our community so many are still homophobic? Do you know? I will tell you. I will tell you it is not pretty, but I will tell you. Among Black men, in the days of our trauma on the plantation, many bucks, that is who you call a very good genetic man, was used to reproduce with other women to have the best product, because that's what they were to the people who kept them and raised them like cattle. And to keep bucks in line, they would, in fact, take their booty holes. It's so fucked up. Seriously. That trauma has been passed down through generations. It is not a crime to be fluid. However, it is a trauma where men, Black men, were taken. Their pride was taken. Who they were, the ideas of what a man should be able to do for his offspring, for his children, for his wife, for his lover, for his community, was completely and utterly devoid. In my day, we had a lot of people who would not take care of their children, who would leave and just have a bunch of children with a bunch of people and never be there to raise them. Where do you think that kind of trauma comes from? What does that sound like to you but a replication of something that happened in our dark past? It does not excuse someone, but it does show a wounding in our collective culture that needs to be healed. When you are thinking, well, how can I do anything about that? What couldn't you do? When you see a Black man on the street, do you tighten up? Do you move out the way? Or do you look him in the eye and you smile and you say, "How are you, King? You look good today, brother." It's simple. A simple acknowledgement, because they are not acknowledged except for what they can do, who they can be, and for what they have. This box is broken for the Black man. Just as the role of being everything, the strong Black woman, is broken for a lot of us, for a lot of women. We need you to understand the truth of it, the ugly of it, the pain of it, and decide today that you won't be the carrier of it. Who shall you be, my dear? And where shall you go? I want you to understand that it's very hard to take what I have said today and put it into your heart and into action. So I will ask you a few short questions. Taking a large look at your family, for those of you who have a family, what is the guaranteed wound? The wound that your family is known for. We will give an example. Lauren's family in wounding is known for two particular. Many in her family have experienced sexual abuse, and they have also experienced suppression of what is called meanness. Many people in her family are pretending to be a perfect version of whatever their mother thought, unable to fully come into a sense of self because it was never encouraged or developed. This almost always goes into the space of addiction, because a sense of self is what can keep us stable and motivated through life. In order to understand this, it is very painful to see the wounding of this and the inadequacy of love and attention, of affection, and to do something different. Lauren has spent years painstakingly plucking all types of ideologies, ideas, beliefs, habits, and patterns that created a lackluster reality, if she said so herself, creating body dysmorphia, binge eating, habits of addiction with alcohol and cannabis. Understanding a space where she experienced multiple types of abuse throughout her life: sexual, mental, emotional, and physical abuse, not just with her family, but even in her relationships. And it took time for her to pull apart all of these things to see who she was, why she was, and how to change it. She has always known who she was to be, but did not understand how to be it, because she was never taught how to be. Do you understand the type of pain that is? Many of you may not have the same wounding, but you have a wound just as deep, just as intense, just as mind-boggling and absolutely earth-shattering. And because of this, you have blockages in your life. You can only go so far before things fall apart. You can only do so much before you no longer have the will to do. You sabotage things that you love, that you care for, that you invest in. You allow others to tell you who you can and cannot be. You persevere because you want to prove them wrong, but then you see that all you're doing is yelling at a brick wall with your life. Because for them, the possibility will never exist, even if you achieve it. And that is a painful and sorrowful idea to understand and accept and decide anyway to choose you, to do you, to be you, to parent your children different than you, to not beat your children even when they are erratic, annoying, because we were beaten. And why were we beaten? Because they were beaten. And why were they beaten? Because their parents were beaten, and so on and so forth. Because we have all experienced that throughout our lives. And for others, we are not beaten in punishment. We are beaten because the other person cannot bring forth the right words intellectually to set boundaries, to speak about what needs to be spoken, and to understand and bring in understanding, wisdom, and knowledge to cultivate someone to either experience them or to grow into a being that will not beat their children, but speak intelligently to them. Now I ask you again, who will you be? Where will your legacy go? And will they still experience the pain that you have? I will ask another. In what way have you contributed to the wound of your family? It is a painful thought. That can be an experience that you had with someone else, and the way you coped with it, the way you acted with someone else in your family, the way you passed on that exact ideology and knowledge to them, that then infected them, infected their life and the way that they perceive it. This is a space, and sometimes it cannot be undone, but you need to forgive yourself. And not just yourself, but every other person in your family line and ancestry that allowed these things to exist and persist. In this, you are then able to elevate these ancestors and receive their help, because you do need it. Because you do not understand the fractality of a wound, and it can be quite pervading. And when I tell you, most wounds of parental kind are the hardest to heal in full without help. Many are able to heal through Christ. Others are able to heal through magic. And some are able to heal through roots and the spirit. Let me ask you, my dear, what path will you take? And are you committed to the process? because it will be a long one. But in the end, reality will look much different than you will perceive it to be. I feel that Lauren is getting tired. So, I will see you on the next one. May you be well, elevated, and thriving in your best light and mind. Free yourself, my friends, for you are one of us. Peace be with you. Bye. Y'all, he almost turned off the camera. I was like, wait, that's my job. I hope that you guys enjoyed this channeling. Y'all, I am tired. We went on a 5-mile bike ride today, so I'm about to go lay down. But I hope that you've enjoyed this channeling from Huey P. Newton. Definitely tap the like button and leave me a comment on what you heard that really incited some type of click in your mind about how you want to operate differently with your family, with your line, with your ancestors, with the way that you perceive life. And I love you guys. I hope that if you enjoy this thought-provoking content brought to you by the spirits and the ancestors, I hope that you go ahead and follow and like this, because let's spread the good news, okay? And definitely subscribe so you can learn how to keep your energy body suited and booted for your next level and overcome those things that have literally been walls and make them your stepping stones. I'll see you in the next one. I hope that you continue to keep thriving, keep elevating, and keep moving with your highest I. I love you. Be well.